Upscale, described as an indirect improvement to one's reputation without actual involvement in said incident. Or at least that's what we're calling it. And with arguably the biggest agenda meme of the year being Cure Ryan, there's no better time to figure out what truly were the biggest upscales in One Piece. Now, I think there's really only one place to start. I think you and I both know what's going to happen. Mihawk upscale. Now, the whole thing with Mihawk is him being the world's strongest swordsman. And it's time for a hot take. But when the author says that this dude is the world's strongest swordsman and there's no caveat like the narrator saying people say about Kaido, or the fact that Whitebeard's title was very much left over from a bygone era, I'm just gonna believe him. So yeah, as much as you want to cope by saying, but bro, Shanks is just using using a really swordly shaped wand, or that he's a hockey man. Garp is a hockey man. He only uses hockey. But anyway, Mihawk upscale. The thing about Mihawk is because of his title. When a swordsman does something, we know that at the end of the day, Mihawk is going to do something as impressive, if not more impressive, than said action. If we actually think about it for a second, Oda has a job to prove to us that Zoro would accomplish his dreams of letting the heavens know his name by beating Mihawk. And if you really think that Mihawk is gonna be a Yonko commander tier character, buddy, I don't even know what to tell you, man. We gotta get you in the library to learn something about setups and narrative. The fact that Mihawk has to one-up every other swordsman mean that this guy is just gonna get upscaled even further. I mean, we see Rayleigh leaving Blackbeard sweating buckets, turning tail, roaching out. We see Kizaru pulling up with a sword and being able to go to all-out war with an emperor. We see Shanks, one-tap kid, a guy who was able to take punishment from Big Mom. And to the extent that I can tell, this seems like a sword, right? All of those, Mihawk upscale. In fact, his upscale goes so far it even transcends time. We see Zebek looking like an absolute demon with his own unique style of swordsmanship. We see Roger whipping out attacks that you can't even pronounce. Now, those may not be direct times, but when you look at the narrative of the story, you can start to see arguments for it. Additionally, just even looking at the statements these guys get are insane. I mean, we got Brand New hyping up this guy's sword skill. I mean, we have Whitebeard telling tales about the hockey-less, low-intensity fencing sparring match that Mihawk and Shanks had in their younger years. Even just this dude having some sort of special observation hockey due to Dracule Mihawk's strange eyes and his alias being Hawkeye. We haven't even seen this dude go all out yet. I mean, we know that this old-school nickname was the Marine Hunter. Buddy, Roxy Zebek went to home court. He went to Marie-Joie and killed an admiral, and this dude wasn't called the Marine Hunter. So what exactly was Mihawk doing to the Marines decades ago, buddy? You know how they talk about Garp, how he was the demon to pirates. Bro, Mihawk might have been the demons to seamen. But truly, the greatest aspect of Mihawk upscale was that it does indeed transcend fiction. We see Kenpachi holding a sword with two hands. Mihawk upscale. We see Miyoto Musashi holding a sword. Mihawk upscale. We even see Son Gohan and Trunks holding a sword. That's Mihawk upscale. Yep, definitely that's just how it works, man. What can I say? Now, one other upscale that we have to discuss is Loki upscale, because let's be honest, at the start of Elbaph, we all knew he would be strong, right? Like stronger than Zoro strong, but we weren't really feeling that this guy was gonna be a true Yonko tier character. But this entire Haralad / Zebek flashback has just been insane for his PR. We saw Haralad and Zebek clashing and even going to war at least 4 times. For all intents and purposes, these guys are portrayed as relative to one another. And Loki is the King Harald of this generation with a less conventional taste in women. That's not really important. I don't know why I said that. This guy Loki, man, truly his endgame outcomes are so much higher than any of us had previously thought. I haven't even mentioned this panel yet, but the mural in Elbaph, that is Loki on the front lines hanging out with his buddies Mosa and Nika. That is insane. Upscale to be put up there with the literal reincarnation of Joy Boy and the ancient weapon Poseidon. This guy is top 10 in the verse right now, and we haven't even gotten to any real feats yet, but trust me, man. Chapter 1170, wrap it up. Loki W. Just look at this geometric equation I found. If we break down the math here, we know the facts that Kaido is Roger's lesser, given the fact that we've literally seen them run the ones with Odin, and Roger sent this dude to Kingdom Come, while Kaido had to pull a bit of a tomfoolery with rat tactics in order to triumph over the Kozuki. I mean, this guy wanted to die in war, and all of a sudden, when Odin starts applying a little bit of pressure, it's crickets. Then we've seen throughout the Elbaph flashback that Roger, Haralad, and Zebek are all relative to one another. And then to input where we were talking about earlier with Loki, this guy's ceiling is utterly insane, bud. There really is not much to say here. This is elementary math we're doing here, buddy. And obviously, all Loki upscale is Shanks upscale, because we know how that scrap ended up going. And if we whip out the quadratic equation here, plug in our A, B's, and C's, Mihawk upscale. Anyway, speaking of Shanks, I think it's about time we start talking to Oda's golden boy himself, red-haired Shanks upscale. And I think there really is only one line to talk about here. In chapter 1123, if you know, you know. After Emmett's explosion of Haki, Dorian Bragi would make an intriguing comparison with speaking on Joy Boy's Haki knot. Was that even stronger than Red Hair's? There was no hostility to it at all. And let me tell you, buddy, that might be one of the craziest varnishing sessions of all time. The only other person we've seen compared to Joy Boy was Luffy, but he's the main character, and so far it was more or less personality based. But this statement, no matter the way you read it, these two are basically confirming that Shanks has stronger Haki than the version of King Harold, who we know is an absolute boss. Shanks is definitively the most widely accepted top 5 characters, so the upscales, you know, they're just not much of a big deal. And you know what? Now that we've upscaled One Piece characters, you know what we need to upscale? The Clinch channel, and the only way that you can do that is by liking, subscribing, and hyping up the video to truly upscale me to 10,000. That's what I'm talking about, bud. Now, before we've been talking about upscale via statements and comparisons, but it's time we look at the second form of scaling, which I'm going to deem cross-generational upscale, which is where a character who is clearly meant to be the modern version of a past character gets passively upscaled due to their past or current actions. And there really is no better exemplifier than Captain Koby himself, one of the single most downplayed characters in all of One Piece. I mean, come on, man. Honesty, impact, the single greatest moment in all of One Piece, and I'm not going to hear anything other than that. But what really showed that Koby is going to transcend the heavens was the Garp flashback that was God Valley. I mean, you all know how I feel about this, but this guy put up a once-in-a-lifetime performance, the MVP, and everything that Garp does is Koby upscale as the two most important marines in the story. Bro, no one actually cares about Akainu. Akainu idolization is like your angsty teen phase, you know, buddy. No, mom, I'm not gonna like cool characters. I like Sakabozo. It's like the daughter taking home the drug dealer to upset their dad. It's a phase. Y'all just gotta get over it one day. But anyway, Koby's endgame role, buddy, it's something else. And I'd even argue, over the nearly 3 years that the story takes place, Koby is the character who made the biggest leap in strength. I mean, this guy was the definition of a pipsqueak, a bona fide pushover, a total twerp, a nerd. And now, this guy is the modern generation's Haki man, one of the greatest boxers in the story itself. I mean, this guy was on the "it's all down to who finds it" panel, and not as a gag like Buggy, but because he knows he has to be the one to find the One Piece. One thing that I don't see mentioned a lot either was the confidence the Navy had in this dude, buddy. If we actually think about it for a second, he was sent on what was basically a solo dolo mission to take care of Boa Hancock. The amount of PR this guy has in the naval ranks and on the Clinch channel, let me tell you, buddy, Koby is something special. And if one of the culminating battles of the story is going to be similar to God Valley, we're going to have Luffy and Koby up there working the Gum Gum Sun Gatlings and Koby's Justice Impact. Let me tell you, buddy, there won't be a single doubter left. But you know, man, starting to get late. You better switch, and if you don't, buddy, stay on that side. And one man that truly upscaled during the Herald flashback in perhaps the most indirect manner ever is a black leg Sanji himself. We've seen the previous Cope saying that Sanji can't be a conqueror because only Rayleigh had conquerors, bro. Then Gabon used conquerors and it turned to, bro, that's not even conquerors. That's clearly just advanced armament. And then it was revealed to be ACOG. Then finally we hit the point where, bro, Sanji's a simp. He can't even conquer. He likes girls. Now we've seen Whitebeard, Zebek, Shiki, Gabon, and all simping for Shaki Buddy. It really is only a matter of time before this guy starts whipping out some sort of raw jambe with a little bit of that conqueror's coding. And yes, Zoro without a doubt has and will always have better cock than Sanji. And yes, that interaction with Gabon was icky and you look desperate and needy, brother. Stop that. It's not a good look. But at the end of the day, What bird can fly with a wing that much brighter than the other? Dude, that was super metaphoric, bro. I just blew your mind, you know what I'm talking about? Whoa. Then someone who also low-key got upscaled quite a bit was Boa Hancock, and yes, I know, she's the rather controversial figure in the One Piece community with her Hisoka maxing. No, bro, she's not attracted to Luffy because he was 17. It was purely personality based. And Sanji, you better be careful, but I know I was just hyping you up. I know Whole Cake Island has some different laws over there, but if you go take pudding to the West Blue, let me tell you, bud, this doesn't fly like that over there, you know, not in my turf, bud. Anyway, with Hancock, with her clearly being the Shaggy parallel between the old gen and the modern one, knowing that Shaggy had the strongest of the old generation, except for Garp, by the way. But anyway, the true difference between Hancock and Shakuyaku is that Hancock is an actual danger on the battlefield. She has the actual power in her hands and feet to punish you for getting distracted. Yes, I will admit that we're not going to be seeing final Saga Admiral tier characters getting down on their hands and knees and barking for Boa, but from what we've seen in the God Valley flashback, characters even as amped as Shiki were able to stay locked in despite her presence due to the clear danger of the situation. With Hancock, we know she has all 3 forms of Haki, and along with that, she has one of the most dangerous fruits for a character of her facial structure. When Shaggy has people kneeling to her, Hancock could very well do the same and actually have the attack output to back it up. Then if you thought that upscale was gonna get a little spicy, a little controversial, this is easily the most fiery upscale, Sabo, and it all comes from the fact that this guy was able to hit the most legendary 100-yard dash of all time to escape Emu. Oh, and everyone's saying, but bro, he ran away, bro, he turned tail like a coward. That means he's not a conqueror. Horrible, horrible, atrocious, disgusting, vile take aside. That was a tactical retreat, buddy, from an expert elite commander-in-chief tactician. And the thing about this feat is that there really is no reason for Emu or the other Gorosei to not be going all out trying to kill Sabo here. So what we can interpret from that is that Sabo was able to escape Emu, which is impressive, but based on the rules I laid out in the beginning, this is a feat, not an upscale. But that means that from now on, anytime we see a character lose an interaction to Emu where they should be tactically retreating, Sabo upscale. Emu or the Gorosei able to take someone out? Sabo upscale. Let me tell you, this is One Piece, so the chances of death are low. But let me tell you, any interaction, we will turn it into a way to upscale the Flame Emperor. But lest we forget about Trafalgar Law upscale. And here's the thing, similar to Sabo, it all comes down from one moment. When Law put up the performance of a lifetime against an Emperor of the Sea, Blackbeard. People really do underrate this performance because they struggle to comprehend that Law is stronger than Kid. I mean, just because Kid got no diff by a stronger character, mind you, doesn't mean that Law was out here getting low diff by Teach. Law just got jumped and was still able to take Teach to war. I mean, even with his absolute jobber-filled crew, he used tactics and intellect to make it an even fight. Even just in physical strength, he was able to clash with Blackbeard's Gura. I mean, Blackbeard wasn't exactly a looker before, but Law had him looking rough and rattled. But anyway, once again, this is a feat, not an upscale. And while Blackbeard hasn't really done much since the scrap, let me tell you, bud, the next Blackbeard feat, I am gonna be so annoying, at least more than the usual level. Now, I think I've been saving the latest, the greatest, the bestest upscale for lastest. The upscale that I feel the most impassioned about. Galdino upscale. On Little Garden, when Mr. 3 was able to handle Dorian Broggy, flexing that IQ, flexing the wax, which we thought was a good feat at the time, but only decent. But then we get to Elbaph, and buddy, let me tell you, seeing these guys tossing around Gorosei, chopping down Jupiter like a log at the good old lumberjack shift, the overall performance they had, and then we got to bountyflation, brother. Over 1 billion berry bounties. This guy might be giving Mihawk a run for his money for the hierarchy of the cross-guild crew. That's all I'm gonna say on that. Keep an eye on this guy. You know what the 3 in his name stands for? Top 3. Because my top 3, to be honest, buddy, it's looking like Nika, Emu, and Galdino the GOAT. So yeah, that's the video. Let me know your favorite upscale on One Piece, and I hope you'll be here for another video on another Friday. See ya.